Hello, I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS. Welcome to Reclaiming Your Voice. This is a limited vertical series centered on identity, authorship, and what it means to reclaim who you are after your voice has been shaped, muted, or managed by systems, roles, and expectation. This series is not about finding something new, it's about restoring what already belonged to you. Across these conversations, we explore how voice is formed, suppressed, and reclaimed with clarity, courage, and purpose. Today, I am joined by Dr. Velma Bagby, whose work speaks directly to identity recovery, creative expression, and spiritual restoration in real life. So, wherever you're listening from, take a breath. Ooh, me too. And settle in and let us talk about what it means to reclaim your voice. Dr. Velma, honey, we've been having a good time here. And I know that the audience has been enjoying this also. So we're going to jump on in today too.
Okay, Dr. Toss, let's go.
Okay. In today's society, people wait for approval before they speak. What they used to say, children ought to be seen and not heard.
Used to.
That's what they used to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does giving yourself permission restore your confidence and clarity?
Because as we talked about in the previous episodes, we talked about examples of people who lost their voice. I told about my story and how I had to rediscover it after 38 years in a corporate environment. But I also experienced it in ministries as well. So we kind of touched upon those in the first couple of episodes. And you have to want to recover it. You have to want what you're trying to do. Because if you don't want it, it's just going to remain the same. You're not going to restore anything. And restoration comes from first acknowledging that something needs to be restored, something needs to be replaced, something is broken that needs to be fixed. So that's what restoration means. And so therefore, giving yourself permission to fix what's broken, to restore what's gotten lost, to recover what you need to recover, is saying that I want to do what I want to do, what I have been designed to do, what is my divine assignment. It's so many people, and I think I'm not sure if we got a chance to talk about it yesterday, but I made this note, and one of my favorite quotes by Les Brown is when he said, "The most richest place on earth is the graveyard because it's filled with unfulfilled hopes and dreams. Creativity and inventions are gone to the grave. Books that should have been written, gone to the grave." And so, therefore, we're talking about how people must give themselves permission to accomplish what you've been designed to accomplish all along. It was downloaded. God's purpose in all of us was downloaded in us before we were formed in our mother's womb. Not once we got there, but before. And so, therefore, it's already in us what we're supposed to accomplish. And it's up to us to want to do it. But when we don't give ourselves permission to walk what we've been given to walk, what has been our divine assignment, then like Les Brown said, it goes to the grave. So we have to give ourselves permission to operate what we've been given to operate in, to voice will be what we've been given to voice through whatever means we've been given, whether it's book writing, talking, having conversations, whatever that means is, we have to give ourselves permission to step out. Now, we also address the fact that when you're unsure of how to do that, there are
Mhm.
steps you can do. But the key is you got to want to. If God told me I'm supposed to do something and I didn't want to do it, then none of the things that we're talking about and none of the things I've accomplished in the short time that I have accomplished, 8 years, 27 books, 22 bestsellers. I was in my 60s when I started. And so we have to make sure that we do what we've been called to do. And it's never too late for anyone until you hit that graveyard. Then it's all done.
But Dr. Velma, one, your life is a living testimony about what can happen when you finally walk in your
Yeah.
purpose and understand that by reclaiming your voice, as I've said before, your voice is tied to your identity and
Mm-hmm.
it's then a link to your purpose. But I want to talk about authorship a half a second
Mm-hmm.
because I've been thinking about this. The authorship piece that I want folks not to miss. Yes, we could be the creative pieces of writing, like you just talked about, or the conversations, but the authorship of your life. You see, because I don't know if people getting it there.
Yeah.
You are the author of your life through God,
Yes.
because we got to walk in His purpose. But you are authoring your life. You are writing what your life is going to be. We are speaking what our
Mm-hmm.
life is going to
Mm-hmm.
be. So therefore, if I am still using somebody else's voice for me, I am I might not be speaking the life that God wants me to speak over my life and over the purpose that He has for me, which then leads me to this question. Should I be waiting on other people to validate my ideas and my talents? Or should I be validating them based upon what the Lord has already told me?
There's accountability on your part. If you've been called for a purpose, you're accountable for that. Nobody else is accountable for that but you. Now, in my journey, I had to seek out support and help, but I'm still accountable for what I've been given to do. And so it's important that we understand that. No one can tell you what to say and what to do. And that's what's important. Like one of the rules of in the literary world, show, don't tell.
Mhm. Yeah, show it.
so, so there you go. Either I'm going to show it, I'm going to tell it. Which one should I do?
Show.
Show. I'm going to show who I've been called to be, what I've been called to do. And so it's interesting that that little rule
Mm.
really applies to us too.
It does. Now, Dr. Bellman, now that takes me back to a statement I made with Faith Matters with Dennis Perkins about the fact that I love to cook, and we have to use discernment. Now, you can say your spiritual eye, but I use the analogy of being in the cooking because y'all know I love to cook live on our
Hmm.
times in the kitchen. But I talked about sifting my flour because I bake from scratch because that's how Mama taught me. But sometimes now I will sift the actual sugar and how there are lumps that when I sift, the
Yep.
lumps stay, but the sugar falls through the sifter. And so when you talked about the accountability rests on me, I was reminded of that because you sought support. But that means I got to, Lord help me, Jesus, because a particular person came to mind. I got to be able to understand when I'm still operating under someone else's corporate culture
Hmm.
vision of who
Hmm.
I am and
Hmm.
understand when God may have sent me the answer to my problem that I've been praying and fasting for, but because it don't show up the way I want it, and I didn't realize I needed to sift to see if it was fine, and meaning that was the right person for, and I'm not even talking romantic guys, but this applies romantically too, that was the right person. So what I do instead is I get in my feelings, but you getting in your feeling because you're living up to a standard that whomever for that
Yep.
corporate environment has instilled in you, and you don't even realize how they are the ones who are I don't really have much in it. They are the ones who are just taking your
Yep.
dream and
Yep.
they are just ripping it apart. You
Yep.
think it's the person that's been sent to you, but because your mind has not been, they say, keep your mind focused on God.
Yeah.
Because you could be in the church and you could be praying. Because see, it's not that simple. Because church has got them core culture too that we were talking about. Because that's what hit me. This person didn't understand
Mm-mm.
why they behaved the way they did because they didn't have the lens.
Hmm.
They were still operating from a different software, is what I would normally say,
Yeah.
a different identity. So when they got the help, they didn't know how to receive the help. They thought the help was coming to hurt them, but the
Yeah.
help was there to elevate them. but they did not have the knowledge yet to do it, which goes back to that authorship of your own life.
Well, when you said that, it reminds me of an analogy I remember sharing with someone of a dog who's injured. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the dog is injured and is sitting in the corner and it's hurting and its foot is injured real bad. But you decide to go over and help that dog because you want to bind up that wound so it can heal. But
Good.
what does that dog do? It does not recognize the help or
Uh-uh.
the effort that you're trying to make. It's going to attack
They
you.
go bite you off.
Absolutely. And so that goes back to your example of what you're talking about. People who are in that environment sometimes can't discern and recognize help when it comes. And instead of receiving the help, they attack the help.
They attack the hell. Oh God,
Hmm.
that makes me want to jump up and run the room. I tell you, I just been wanting to run the room with all these episodes. Y'all don't miss that
The
because
other thing that I thought, oh, I'm sorry.
oh no,
The
go
other
ahead.
thing I thought about is um, I'm not trying to promote, but I'm just trying to share.
Yes.
One of my favorite books out of the Catch series is the Book of Fools.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about what my publicist Cyrus Webb said about the Book of Fools, it's a reminder that we have to recognize that God has given us over 200 scriptures that refers to and describes what a fool looks like and acts like. And so why would he give us so many of them? Well, one, he didn't want you to date a fool.
Come on now.
He didn't want you to marry a fool.
Mm.
He doesn't want you to go into business with a fool.
Uh-uh.
So you're not going to take a fool's advice as you begin to find your voice in all of those situations. And you definitely did not want to become a fool yourself. So I only took 80 of the scriptures and put it in that book, but it's so profound and so telling. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. And this goes back to what we're saying in terms of using discernment. Yes, that dog was acting a fool because it had no idea that all you were trying to do is provide him or her some help. So is it with the person who's trying to figure out their way down this path of doing what they have been given to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when help comes, they can't recognize it. They don't know it's help because all the stuff you still carrying, you filter them through those things, not being able to recognize help when it comes. So that's why laying aside the weight that Paul says, we got to get rid of that stuff because if you don't, you use all those experience and filter through the very thing that has come along to help you on your path. So
Mm-hmm.
that's important for you to know.
Now, Dr. Bevan, that's a mouthful. I hope they caught that because now I want to switch this just a little bit here because now my question becomes for the other person in the house.
Hmm.
Why, how does perfectionism, because this kind of might be me sometimes, guys, I'm just so transparent. How does perfectionism interfere with our authentic expression? Because it does. And when we are not authentic at the right time, then it, for me, from my perspective, it undermines that purpose.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's part of the purification process, getting rid of the things that you don't need to carry around because perfectionism could be a way to stifle your progress and prevent you from moving forward. Because according to the scripture, there's none perfect but one.
Mhm.
And he's not any of the humans out here, down here on this earth. So
Mhm.
we can get rid of perfectionism right there.
Mhm.
You're not going to be perfect. And who says perfect is the ideal product or
Yes.
outcome? Not all the time. Sometimes it's good for you to see that I had some difficulties along the way. It wasn't an easy journey for me to figure out my voice and learn it and discover it and the things I had to do and the books I had to read. That wasn't an easy process. Was it perfect? No. And so
Mhm.
sometimes we take perfectionism and we put it on a high pedestal where it does not belong. What will be perfect is the assignment is complete. In whatever in whatever state it is in. I completed the assignment. Perfect. Done.
Lord Jesus. You know, Dr. Velma, you just be dropping. I got to say this. Um, Christ came and he completed his assignment
That's
and he
what he
gave
did.
up the ghost. Now, did everything go the way that he may have preconceived it would go? No, but it went the way it was supposed to go, because when he is the Father sitting in heaven and not Jesus on earth, he knows everything unfolded the way it was supposed to go. I'm not going to go no further than
His
that.
whole journey, and what I wanted to add a little bit, that
All right, all right, I want to take us there.
his whole experience and journey would be considered imperfect.
Come on now.
He came from the poorest section of the town, people who weren't acknowledged, which is one of the reasons they had a hard time accepting him. And
Yes.
because he was from the poorest section of the town, he didn't speak the eloquent language. So he had a dialect
Come on now.
on top of it. He didn't look the
Mm,
part
mm,
like some of the ones with all the gold and the money that would get up in the pulpit. He didn't look the part.
mm.
He chose to hang out with not the billionaires.
Elite.
He chose to hang out with the ones who were just everyday, normal people. So nothing about how he began, how he was raised, how he spoke, how he looked was considered in the world's eyes perfect, because he wasn't.
And Dr. Velma, you know, I got to say this. You know, I was saying to someone earlier, I said, you know, I grew up in the Baptist church. We used to do responsive reading. You know, there's the leader, and then
Yes,
we
ma'am.
come back and do that little response. So that's what
Same
I'm
here.
doing now.
Yes.
And so, you know, you said something there. So now, because you're right, when we get to is it Potamus? I may be mispronouncing his name right now. And and you know, his wife tells him, you know, that's that king of the Jews there. I would have nothing to do with that. Let the people decide who should go free.
Mm-hmm.
They said crucify Christ and let
Mm-hmm.
the other man go free.
Right.
See,
Barnabas.
if he had run around with them billionaires, if he had been having dinner with the people that had the power, that actually created the corporate language and that corporate culture, they wouldn't have said crucify him, baby. I want y'all to get that. But
Mm-hmm.
they said crucify him. Oh, Jesus, help me.
Are they
Because
saying it today?
you know they saying it. They saying it right now because you're different. And because Dennis Perkins would say that we would rather be deceived so that we can be received. We don't mind letting them crucify us.
I'm
They
talking about the
crucify
ones who's
all the
hanging around in that group.
yes.
The ones that's hanging around in that group. Other countries are making sure they're going to court and
Yes.
being charged,
Oh, but
but
not.
they said US isn't. So we have to be mindful of the fact that all you have to do is just watch that,
Mhm.
because nothing new is under the sun. There's nothing new.
No.
And so those are, like you said, with using discernment, those are tall tale signs that we have to be careful and be aware. I'm not looking to make millions in selling books. I'm just looking to get the assignment done. And if one person is touched by what I was able to talk about or write about, assignment complete. Perfect.
Mhm. Ooh, Dr. Bevel. As the old song here in the South said, my living has not been in vain. If
That's
one
it.
person can benefit,
Let the work that I've done
speak for me.
speak for me.
Mm, the life I've lived. Ooh, Jesus, help me, somebody. Ooh, that's my Uncle Jethro, y'all. Help me, somebody. Well, this is right into this. So, what is the connection between creativity and healing? You know, because when you get to be your authentic self, because you've already just said it, Dr. Velma, you
Hmm.
now have got to you know how you have your voice. You did all the work. You have your voice.
Hmm.
You're now able to write your books, 22 bestsellers, and if one person can
Yeah,
benefit.
it's the corporate laryngitis had to be healed. My vocal cords had to open up.
Mhm.
They had to be strengthened.
Yes.
The disease that caused it to shut down I had to let it all go. Because remember, I said in the beginning, when I retired, I thought I was burying all the writing skills. I was putting it in a book called Retired. And that's when God said, no, that's not getting ready to go in a retirement box. I have work for you to do. And so that's what's important. The corporate laryngitis, what caught my voice from being active, my creativity from
Mm-hmm.
flowing the way it's supposed to, it had to be healed, like you said. And the way to heal it, first I had to discover I had a voice.
Mm-hmm.
What? I have a voice? What? What is a voice? What is my voice? Because the only voice I had for 38 years was the brand of the corporation. And sometimes we don't realize that's what it does. It shuts your vocal cords down.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go through the process of healing, discovering where I was going and what I needed to do. All of that took time, and that's what's important. But until you recognize that your voice has been silenced, until you acknowledge there's something wrong, that wait a minute, I can't get above a whisper. I can't, I
Mm-hmm.
can't, I can't get above. Something's going on. Let me take something. You're not going to do anything about it. So you have to acknowledge it and know that that's what's happening, and know that there's a route and a way out of it.
Well, now, Dr. Velma, God put it on you that you were going to write. Because
Yes.
we see that. So, speaking from that perspective, how can writing and storytelling or art help individuals rediscover who they are? Because you said early, it might be I do conversations, I may not write, but how can that creativity help me to discover who I am?
Well, I do know that what I discovered in the beginning has helped me to propel what I've been assigned to do, and I'm doing more and more than what I began doing. I'm really surprised. I'm talking on a podcast with Dr. Taz.
Mhm,
I have my own two podcasts. That, if you told me at the beginning of this journey, that's what I was assigned to do, I would have been shocked and afraid and would have
mhm,
told you, no, 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 not me. So God moves us slowly as we grow and we develop. As He sees that we're comfortable with more, He'll give you more. Because if you're not comfortable with more, He's not going to bring more to the table.
mhm,
But He will bring more as you get comfortable with the more. So I had to learn to receive and accept what I had been given, to the point where the very first novel, I thought it was one novel, period. Okay, God, I got it done. And the audience that he gave me to write for said, no, we want to know more.
mhm,
And it ended up being a 5 book series.
mhm,
Had you said that, when
mhm.
God told me, no, I want you to write, and I want you to write a 5 book series, he knew not to tell me that at that moment.
Right.
Right. He knew to just tell I need you to write a book. He
Mhm,
never said write 27.
mhm,
More than 27. He just said, I need you to write. And so, therefore, he lets us know what our assignment is. And as we become comfortable, then he'll begin to open up the door to let you know it's bigger than what you assumed in the beginning. He
mhm.
has so much more. But you first have to accept what he's given you to do.
And sometimes, Dr. Velma, that's the hardest thing. We'll accept what we'll accept everybody's voice except for God's corporate voice. Because as we
Yeah.
said last time, that's the corporate voice that we need to be tied to. But we'll accept the churches, we accept jobs,
Yeah.
relationships, organization, but won't accept His voice at all. And as you
At
just said,
all.
we got to accept it.
And that's the voice that's above every voice. And the other thing that I thought about too is the struggle that I had in the beginning, not only reclaiming my voice and discovering my voice and getting rid of the laryngitis, was the approach I had to use to writing. And that's when I discovered that jigsaw puzzle method. Everybody was telling me, write an outline. I know that's what we do for college. I have a theology degree, and went back and got my theology degree and the doctorate in theology. I know all of that. But for my own creativity, I hated
Mhm.
outlines. I really did. I hate outlines. And of course, corporate world, that's all you got.
You got.
You have these outlines. But when I had to step into being creative, going, how do I do this? I'm not doing an outline if I'm supposed to be creative. How do I write this? And that's when I discovered there was nothing wrong with the way I wrote. I write based on what I'm inspired to write in that moment. I get it
Mhm,
all down and it flows very well for me. May even become a whole chapter by the time I'm done. But
mhm,
that's not the whole book because I don't know what the whole book is yet.
mhm.
Then I get inspired to write a different piece and I begin writing on that. And I may be inspired to go back to that first piece and I'll go back and write it. Then here comes a third piece, blah, blah, blah. After so many pieces are done, it's then I get the vision of what this is going to be and what order it should be in.
Mhm.
Only then does my outline come to play because then I know how it's supposed to flow. But I love just creating in the moment, and eventually I'll know exactly how it's supposed to fit. And
Doc-
that's when the jigsaw puzzle method that I discovered, it had a name and a title. I thought there was something wrong with the approach that I used, and it wasn't. It was just my way of writing. I love to be creative in that moment, and that's all I'm going to do is just create, 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 create. Then, when I have the pieces together, I can now align the book. I now have chapters and titles because I've already written it all. And so therefore it makes it a lot more easier for me now that I'm comfortable with my own approach. Now everybody doesn't use that, but let me tell you, it works. As soon as I accepted my method, it was done. I can go and I can write.
Dr. Velma, you just provided some practical steps to help someone move really from hesitation to action. And,
Absolutely.
and the thing that I want folks to understand, because I use the jigsaw method, because
No.
yeah, I do, because I'm always writing. And so
There
and
you
I
go.
never know what it's going to be. And I'll tell you, the inspiration, I can't reach a book, but for Transformation, the second book I wrote,
Hmm.
there were like 80 chapters. And
Wow.
because I had been compiling stuff, and this is what I literally did, guys. And maybe this is something that you can also use as part of your toolkit, a way to do it. I had printed them all, and I'll never forget it. I'd gone to an event, a work event,
Hmm.
and I took everything with me. And so I lined them up on the bed, and I said, Lord, help me to figure out the order of these steps.
Yeah.
And I did, and I kept picking up, and I don't know what happened, but anyway, eventually it was only 10 chapters, and that means there's 70 some chapters still to be written. It was only 10 chapters, and then later, much later, I thought, oh yeah, because even talking about myself now, because the first chapter is change is challenging. Good God Almighty,
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
still a work in progress, and I wrote the book. Change is challenging because I realized we can only manage so much at one time. So yes, you got all these other chapters for another day, but he said you're gonna put 10 together, and that's what I did. And I always go back to it. Is willing? Is it a commitment or a willing obligation? Running on empty. These are some of the titles, but the first one is change is challenging, and I'm still living that. And so now, when you talk about what that picture looks like, so what I want folks to understand is change is challenging. So
Hmm.
don't think that as you implement the things that Dr. Velma is talking about, the things that Dennis has talked about, don't think that it's just going to happen like that. It
Right.
doesn't. I'm telling you, I live it every day. I couldn't leave the house several months back and was stuck in the house for 3 months. I walk
And
around now and still tell myself, you got to drink. I mean, there's protein.
and what could possibly be happening when you have that many pieces? Is there a series on the horizon?
Well, bless you, Dr.
I
Bell.
didn't know that memoirs had series. I was released from all the trauma I was going through with all those pieces I was writing for the memoir when I recognized, wait a minute, I did some research. Wait, memoirs can be series?
Now, Dr. Bell, you see when you get the right people around you,
Mm-hmm.
because there are other there I do look at transformation as a big umbrella, and so
Yeah.
there are other pieces to it, but I have yet to go back to the original stack of printed things. So thank you,
Hello.
Dr. Velma.
Hello.
This might be the time.
Hello.
Thank you, because I had not thought about it. Thank you, Dr. Velma.
Because the
I'll add
first piece was really juicy. Now I can't wait for the second piece.
but Dr. Velma, but I will say this, if it's time to go back to look at what I wrote that I haven't used yet, it will be written totally different. And that goes back to
That's
what you talked
okay.
about. Yes, it is. It's okay because I'm in a different place.
Yep.
But he's given us the pieces. We just have to give ourselves permission to step into our identity and then
Yes.
author our
Yes.
life and our experiences.
Be you.
Come on, that's
It's
all.
okay to be you.
Be you. Be you. But Dr. Velma, I almost don't even want to ask this last question because you really done summed it up with "be you." God knows you done summed it up. Um, but I think we'll merge it right there because you really talked about this too. And
Uh-huh.
the question is, how is my experimenting strengthening my personal authorship? Because we just said it.
Yeah. How else are you going to know
That's
if you
it.
step out there and experience something?
That's it.
How did I know
Mhm,
that in my mind I was writing one novel? How did I know? Would
mhm.
it have overwhelmed me to know in the beginning that this is going to be a series?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Then I probably would have taken my time to figure out which piece this should go in and which, but it wasn't in my mind at the time. So when I wrote that one novel, that's exactly what I focused on, that one novel. So I think sometimes it's good for us not to have the whole picture in the beginning.
Mhm.
It flows better because you'll focus on what needs to go here. And then if you have other pieces you have been working on, you're like, oh, well, then I can put this in
Yes.
number two,
Yes.
but I'm going to change it and make it different. The 5 book series that I wrote, I found out that doesn't have to all be the same. It doesn't all have to be fiction, nonfiction.
No.
Nonfiction. My initial series, the first 2 books were fiction. Actually, first 3 books were fiction. Book 4 and 5 are nonfiction.
Mhm.
So it's important for us to understand that we don't know how the tides are going to turn. We just have to do the job.
Good job.
So even if it's a series, doesn't mean that each book is going to look alike,
No.
sound alike, be
Mm-mm.
packaged alike,
Nope.
but it's still part of the series.
Well, Dr. Velma, what shifts when people stop waiting for this permission?
It's actually more of freedom. It's like being enslaved
Mhm,
because when you have no voice, it's like it's shut down. It's like you're being prevented from being you.
mhm,
When you're able to release that, that's the shift.
mhm.
That's you coming out and being and doing what you've been called to do. And it can't be any more, you can't be any more free than that to be you. Look, this is me. I remember our wonderful, precious Pearl girl in Mississippi. Uh, I wanted to say something about Melissa when she encouraged and inspired me, and I won't say it.
No, say it.
Ah! I was thinking about what we were talking about and how you discover who you are and how you come out and be who you are. Her beautiful tag is dream by design.
Mhm,
Without a dream, what do you have? You don't have a vision. People perish, is what scripture says. If you can't see it yourself,
mhm,
who, are you expecting? Is Dr. Taz expecting me to see it for her?
mhm,
No. Am I expecting her to see it for me?
mhm.
No, it's important for you to dream it yourself, for you to see it yourself. And that's what's important. It's in you. Just be you.
Dr. Velma, you know I got to say it. I can't with you. That's my phrase. Besides, when I channel my Tammy Roman, you all been played. But let
Wow.
me tell you something. You brought that home. No voice, no freedom. Be you. Do
Hmm.
the job that God has given you to do. When we have these dreams, they are not because He formed us. He already had it before He formed
Yeah,
us in our
that's
mother's
right.
womb. So those dreams that we're talking about with Melissa, we're dreaming by design, but the design is the part we got to understand. It was
It was
already predestined.
already done, already downloaded.
But we don't realize it because we don't have our real identity anymore. Our
Hmm.
faith may have gotten a little shaky, and we letting other people author our lives. And then
Which
we
is
wonder why we don't
which
get.
is one of the reasons I inspired and encouraged my granddaughter to do the same. She became a first-time author at the age of 6 and a
Yes.
bestseller with 3 books out. And so it was important. Yes, it was important for her, for me to teach her that
Mhm.
because I had to learn it late. And I said, if I inspire her now, hopefully she'll continue later on in life. And that's what it means for all of us. That's why we're talking about it. Somebody needed to hear what we're talking about today. Somebody
Absolutely.
was sitting on the sideline wondering what's the point? What am I here for? Why? Why? Nobody's listening. What do I have to say? Nothing important to say. I have nothing important to say, which is not true. You do.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that you invited me on this platform, Dr. Taz, to just share what we know because somebody needed to hear it.
Amen. And I know that our audience is going to be blessed. And I want to say to them, thank you for spending this time with us. Reclaiming your voice is not a single moment. It is a process of remembering, choosing, and practicing truth in everyday life.
Yeah,
As you move through the rest of your week, I invite you to reflect on this question. Where have you been speaking from habit? And where are you being invited to speak from truth?
right.
You do not have to rush to answer the question. Restoration takes time. This conversation is part of a 4 episode limited series. Each episode stands on its own, but together they explore identity, authorship, and purpose beyond performance. And to our audience, you know the drill. Before you go trying to take care of someone else, please make sure you take care of yourself first and reclaim your voice so that your identity and authorship and purpose can spring forth the way the great architect had in mind. Bye now.
Bye.